Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of May I Interrupt? My name is Craig Norman. My partner in crime over here is Dr. Jason Jedlicka, and we are looking forward to having a wonderful conversation today in this episode. Just give you a little background about what we do in our interviews. We are a slightly irreverent discussion point. Usually the guests never want to come back after the first time. We've never had a repeat, right?
No, that's true.
That is true. We've never had a repeat. But today's guest, we think, can handle anything that we put out to him. And that is with Dr. Langis Michaud. Welcome, Langis. How are you?
Very good.
Yeah, very nice to have you.
Thanks for inviting me, but I'm a little bit afraid now.
No,
Yeah.
see, Craig said it was going to have a wonderful conversation. So that means he's going to let me lead this time.
Okay. So I turn to
So
this
you're
side.
good. So you're good.
Okay.
Don't be nervous.
Okay, good.
So Langis, let's just start things out. I've had the pleasure of knowing you for quite a few years. And I know you basically as being this terrific contact lens researcher, very good fitter, clinical mind. And now more recently, you've made the leap to also decide to take another challenge, be the dean, University of Montreal School of Optometry.
Yeah, that was a challenge. I had 1 or 2 hours,
A week?
that I didn't know what to do. So I decided just to run this go.
Become dean.
Yeah. So and the higher you go in any position, it's your ability to delegate that is challenged.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
I see.
All right, I'm going to go back many years now. And I don't know if you remember this, but 10, 12, 14 years ago, I'm presenting a workshop on fitting corneoscleral lenses at the Academy, I think. And guess who's attending this?
In the audience?
Yeah, and now I recognize, but I remember that day to this day, you and Daniel were both there.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, now it's like, wow, I kind of like in awe that you guys were there attending, like why would you care what I was doing? But that was an interesting thing because in a lot of ways, I feel like you and I were the leading proponents of corneosclerals for a while. And things have evolved a bit now and changed, but the history, I feel like we kind of grew up together through a lot of what's happened in the last 10 or 15 years. So.
In fact, every research initiative comes from a frustration in the practice. When you become frustrated because you cannot provide to the patients what is needed, you look for options and you look for solutions. So we, 10 years or 15 years ago, we started to fit scleral lenses because it was the next big thing at that time. And we were interested to develop, that skill. But the products that were in the market were good, but
they had issues.
With limitations, I would say that.
Yep.
And Danielle and I just looked at each other and said, okay, why not developing our own, platform? And what are the problems with the actual lenses, and what can we do? And one of the first things we thought was to reduce the diameter of these lenses. And then after that, because we alleviate most of the problems with toric conjunctiva, irregularity of the surface, all that stuff, the fogging issue, the accumulation of debris in the reservoir. And we contact the lab and we develop some prototypes with them. 15 versions later, we had a product ready for the market with limitations as well.
Yeah.
We recognize that over the years. And then we expand a little bit, knowing that, we were able to do better. Technology improved at the same time. The machinery was fabulously different, 5 years down the road compared to that.
Yeah.
And manufacturers were able to provide us design that surfaces and profile that were not even possible to think about before. So that was the basis of that.
Yep.
And same thing for myopia control. Actually, we are developing prototypes and products because what we have now is good.
It still has limitations.
It still has limitations, and I really think that we can go over this 50% efficacy if we do the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
So I follow the same pathway.
Yeah. Well, clearly for all of the issues we fought back then, it couldn't have been too bad when you look at this exhibit hall and you think back to this meeting 10 years ago,
Sure.
and there was maybe one aisle of exhibitors where there's now 4. So obviously the product still revolutionized the way we practice, and
Yeah.
we work out the bugs as we go.
10 years ago, we had to convince practitioners to endorse scleral lens technology. Nowadays, is to troubleshoot things and to say, okay, let's give a better measurement of the ocular surface, and now technology allows that. But it's completely a different scenario. Again, myopia management, we are at the same level. We have to convince practitioners to endorse that technology, and in 10 years from now, we will discuss a very different, scenario and very different things. So everything evolved with time, and as soon as you reach a fair number of practitioners endorsing that technology, manufacturers come in play, and they're interested to develop products because there's a market, and then boom, boom, boom.
So I have to ask you, because for many years I looked at you and I saw a scleral lens expert. And now, other than being dean of a school, I see somebody who's almost created even more of a name in myopia management. Maybe 50-50, but was that always part of your practice, or has that come along after the scleral lens stuff started happening? Or how did you get so involved with myopia management as well?
By accident, I would say. At the school, we had clinicians. Patrick Simard, one of my colleagues, Rémi Marcotte, and Léo Breton developed Ortho-K for myopia control 15 years ago. And they were doing their stuff. I looked at that, but at that time I had a lot of things to do with scleral lenses. And later on, I became more interested in that because of the demand and the patients I saw, and again, the limitation, and they consulted me, and then the manufacturers went in. And so we had this discussion, and I was just drove in that direction. So it's depending on the demand, depending on the need of the patient, depending on what industry is looking for. As a school, we have to be available for think by ourselves, but also for any manufacturer who want to work with us.
Sure.
So depending on where the money is, actually, to be honest, this is where the research go. But
Now you have your dean hat on again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's the beauty of it. The partnership between the industry, the schools, the academic, and the clinicians. But what really drives me is I'm a researcher, but first and foremost, I'm a clinician.
Right.
And I'm thinking as a clinician. I want to translate the science into what practitioners can do in their practice. You do the same, and you do the same as well. To kind of understand things and translate it to make it available for most of our colleagues in the field.
Yeah.
That otherwise I don't see any purpose in my work.
Well, I think we got a chance to spend a little bit of extra time chit-chatting a few months ago when we were in Italy.
Yep.
And what I didn't realize was, I guess in the back of my mind, I've always associated you with the school in Montreal, but you owned practices prior to that.
Yes.
And so the clinician side of you actually was there well before all these other sides of Langis that we know.
I didn't know that as well.
Yeah, the academic in me came late. I graduated in 1986 from the school, and I bought a practice up front, and I run a practice for 15 years. And in fact, I have multiple practice at that time, associates, partners. We were very successful. And at a given point, I was practicing in the rural areas where population didn't grow. So I grew the practice, but at a given moment, I had no more challenge. And the second day I woke up and said, what I'm doing here, meaning that, I need
A new challenge.
a new challenge. And then the phone rang, and the school, offered me a position to teach over there as a lecturer first, because I just completed my diplomate at that time. One of the faculty would want to retire in 2 years in contact lens field. Daniel was involved there, and he asked me to collaborate. So I said, why not? And I said, okay, if I go to Montreal, 400 kilometers from my home, once a week to teach, why not doing a master degree at the same time? Why not? So I did my master. So just to be a little bit more competent and then I really had, a crunch for that academic setting. And I decided from there, okay, this is what I want to do in life.
Well, just a step back. So where you were in practice was 400 kilometers away from Montreal?
Exactly.
In which direction?
East, south shore of St. Lawrence River.
Right.
East of Quebec City.
And you drove round trip?
Yep.
800 kilometers round trip?
Yeah.
Once a week?
Once a week. Yeah. Once a week.
I can see the wheels.
And
I'm trying to calculate this.
Yeah, and I was also at the same time president of the association in Quebec,
Yeah.
and the headquarters is in Montreal as well.
Yeah.
So I began this trip for the association first, and then for the school.
Yeah.
This was before he had a family, though.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
I
and then
think for sure.
Yeah, right.
and at a given point, I was single at that time.
Yeah,
So I know,
right.
Oh, you were still single then?
Yeah, at
Okay.
that time. Yeah. So
Well, that makes sense.
and-
A little bit more-
better.
a little bit more
a little
sense.
bit.
and really no time to be involved in anything else than
Yeah.
study and practice. And at a given moment, it went crazy because I was Monday in Montreal, Tuesday in my practice, Wednesday in Montreal, and the rest of the week in my practice. Boom, boom, like this. So I calculate at a given moment, I really spent as a full-time job a month in my car during a year.
Yeah.
That's
You know, like the early contact lens inventors, the Newton Wesleys of the world, those types, right? They would do those things too, but they were smart enough to learn how to fly.
Yeah, there it is.
Exactly. But you know what? There's no airport near my,
Right. No, but it was, you small plane, you flew yourself.
Oh yeah, probably. But the way I drove,
Like flying?
Yeah.
it was just like flying.
And a nice drive, beautiful countryside.
That's terrific.
That's terrific. Yeah. So at a given moment, I was more reasonable, and I decided to be full time at the school.
Yeah.
And in fact, they offered me that job, and the rest is history. I'm there for 22 years.
Yeah.
So starting and building into multiple location practice,
Yeah.
going to the school, developing scleral lenses,
Yep.
the challenge of myopia control, all the research and publications, now dean of the school. Is this going to keep you occupied well enough for a while, or when does the next challenge need to come?
Prime Minister of the province.
That would be the next step,
The
right?
next step. No. Honestly, I think that I'm there. Probably going back to research at a given moment.
Sure.
And
Which is what a lot of former deans do. They find their way back to their research labs. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
exactly, and to develop products, and again, enjoy my last years in practice at that time.
Well, hopefully that's a long ways away still.
Like, I think what's, cool about the two of you, of course, both have this interest in lens design.
Mm-hmm.
And there's very few optometry schools, personnel at optometry schools that do have interest in lens design, right? One on the left coast, you guys, and what's the list after that,
Yeah, not too many.
right?
Not too many, because it takes a good alignment of the planet. You may have an idea, but if you have no partner on the other side
Yeah.
of the fence, it doesn't
Right.
fly as a project.
Like if you didn't happen to have a relationship with a local laboratory, right, that was interested in growing and open to ideas at the same time, it didn't matter what you had for ideas, right?
Exactly. You can have the brightest idea in town.
Yeah.
It takes someone, and technically speaking, I didn't have the knowledge.
Correct.
So the manufacturer has the knowledge. They
Yeah.
know how to do things, and they know what the limits are
Right.
in their manufacturing processes.
Well, as Jason can attest, right?
Yeah.
You
so-
want the thing to do this. You don't know how they do it.
Right.
You just want that done.
Or if it can be done.
Yeah.
Until you find out, that we can't go that far.
because it's not even for a soft lens. you may think, okay, a moldable lens is very easy to manufacture, right? You take a mold, put the plastic, boom, done. Not so easy because it's complicated for all these curves
Sure.
and all these profiles, the thickness, the optics. So everything has to be calibrated.
Liquid material into a semi-liquid or rigid material, and
So there's a lot of engineers and smart guys that are knowing a lot more than we know. But at the end, it takes a clinician to give them a clue about the usefulness of that product and what is the outcome and the end point at a given moment.
it's like being an advisor on a pure silicone lens. When all the manufacturer wants to talk about is how much oxygen gets through it. The clinician wants to tell you is it doesn't wet,
Right.
doesn't fit, it's uncomfortable. So who cares about oxygen, right?
Exactly.
We need the better clinical lens design to make that
And at
happen.
the end, if the lens is not comfortable, even if on paper that's the perfect product, it won't work.
Yeah.
Because and if you don't resolve and solve the problem that you are supposed to solve with that product, it won't work.
Yeah.
Same thing for instrumentation, same thing for everything. So you can think about, okay, I will have this fancy machine doing everything, but at the end you realize that, okay, nothing can do all in one single piece of equipment, because you will let on the table this and this and this, which is really valuable. So then,
So Langis, if I can just switch gears a little bit and going back to myopia.
yep,
So you, of course, in Canada have had experience with these spectacle lenses designed
yes,
for myopia correction in the myopia, I'll just say myopia control field.
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your gut feeling is on that as a category and how these products are, and what's lacking and what's great about it?
We are fortunate enough to have every product that is actually in the market for myopia management. I don't know if manufacturers consider Canada as the guinea pig of the world, but we are fortunate to have these products and to play with them with our patients. So, as for lenses, in order to be successful, if you want to reach the core of the myopic kids, to really have a real impact in the development of that myopia epidemic in the world, you have to have something that is easy to fit, easy to wear, and affordable for the patient.
Yeah.
So obviously glasses come in mind as the first option. Easy to fit, easy to prescribe, easy to wear. The problem that we have nowadays, these are very, very good products. They are very effective if the kid is compliant. And that's the weakest link for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Just for an example, centration is crucial.
Yeah.
So
That was what I was thinking, is how many 6-year-olds' glasses stay properly
Well,
adjusted.
they're like this within an hour, right?
Right.
yeah, exactly. Like this, and then you look through the defocus part or above the glasses, and it's not working. You have a -2 kid doing computer work.
They take them.
Yeah.
They take them off,
Yeah.
and they cost actually a lot of money. So parents will tell, okay, don't play soccer with your glasses on. So at the end of the day, the kid is wearing glasses probably for 4 hours. It takes 10 hours to have the right dose to be effective. And we saw that during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We had kids fitted properly, compliant with their glasses, very stable. We lost them for follow-up for a year and a half. And what they did computer work 8 hours a day because they have remote class and virtual class at home. And they removed their glasses, and we saw them a year and a half later, 1.5, 2 diopters more myopic.
Interesting.
Because the dose was not there, the treatment was not effective. So these are the very good products. So the next generation, I don't know how to transform that, but they will have to be kind of more forgiving if you don't wear them as much.
Right.
And for optometry, for 100 years, we said to myopic patients, remove your glasses when you're reading.
Yeah.
And
we
then
did.
we say exactly the contrary, keep your glasses on
Yeah.
when you're reading.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that, but it is true.
It's counterintuitive for
Yeah.
most practitioners. So, but it's part of the game because we are still have some kids that are reluctant to contact lenses. Parents are coming with the kid. They really want to be fitted. Parents really want to have the kid fitted in contact lenses. And they believe that it's the best thing for them. But the kid is there closing his eye, not wanting to have something in their eyes. Compliance will not be there. So for 6 months, a year and a half, I have to control that myopia. So glasses is certainly one thing. And if ever we develop a technology that is working well, more forgiving, easy to fit, easy to wear, and affordable, that will be the key.
I believe that's true as well.
Yeah. Contact lenses will still be there, but again, they will be easy to fit, easy to wear, and affordable.
So let me just switch gears, totally off topic. In your schedule, do you have any time to play golf anymore?
I didn't play golf for 4 years. Not only because of bad weather, but because of time and other family activities, I would say.
So, Jason, I've had the opportunity to play with Langis, right? Former hockey player that he is,
Yeah.
he hits the hell out of the ball. Not always sure which direction, of course,
Sounds kind of familiar.
but yeah, exactly. No, and same thing, left-handed,
Yeah, okay.
right?
You and TJ need to play golf
Yeah.
together.
Just hits the ball.
It goes everywhere, but at a given point, it's in that direction. So we'll find out.
As opposed to backwards, right? As
Yeah,
long as
yeah.
it's moving forward.
Moving forward all the time. So and we'll
when-
manage from there.
So when you talk about business development with Oculus,
Yes.
it's much easier to do when you're sitting next to somebody side by side in a golf cart.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Of course. And it's even easier if you let him win.
Ah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Boy,
There
you have to try really hard to make that happen.
Or you pay the beer after,
Yeah,
depending on the. So, but some sort of agreement like that.
Yeah, well, I've played with these too. There's beer during as well.
Exactly.
For some of us.
Okay, for me. Any last question?
I just was going to ask you, now that you're in your position as dean, I assume you maintain research,
Yes.
and you've got some PhD students that work with you.
I have
How big a group do you have, and what are they studying right now?
We have a third group of PhD and master students. We are mostly focusing on myopia, a little bit on sclerals still, but physiology related. I'm looking at physiological reaction to scleral lens wear, not the scleral lens design as well,
Yeah.
but the impact on the eye. But for myopia, we look at different devices, different optics, filters, chromatic aberrations, and we developed a unique way to kind of predict what will go on with the choroidal thickness and volume analysis. We have a team of engineers and practitioners and master and PhD students who, Rémi Marcotte, for instance, and an engineer who developed a real nice software to analyze the images, not only in thickness, but in volume, many quadrants where it matters. So we can test almost with immediate response what is working, what is not working, and then to select what kind of devices will be available for a long-term study, because we still have to confirm the long-term study. But as for research, one of my concerns to this point is the fact that we still need control group.
Yes.
And in myopia, it does not make sense anymore.
I understand. Yeah. It's hard to subject someone to.
It's hard because you know that this kid will evolve over 3 years.
Yeah.
And you know the impact of that evolution.
Yeah.
So it's against my ethics.
Yeah, for sure.
Really. But we have no choice. We have no option for this moment because FDA asked for that, Health Canada asked for that, regulatory agencies asked for that. But at a given moment, we'll have to redefine things, and perhaps choroidal thickness and variation may be one way to
Yeah.
to go over this. And it's hard to recruit as well because parents are now more informed compared to what they were 5 years ago. So when you want to have, an informed consent sign, saying that, okay, probably your kid will evolve for 3 years for nothing. And I, so
It is.
so this is the challenge of research nowadays. But, I wouldn't say that it's my priority, but it's my priority.
Yeah, understand. I think as much as we love the irregular cornea and the scleral patient, I was thinking at the beginning of the episode when we were talking, as you said, something to the effect of myopia being, a more needed area or a bigger, the number of irregular cornea patients compared to myopic children. I mean, it's 100 to 1.
Right.
And so one of them clearly is a more desperate need, if you will, or critical time right now.
Yeah.
And you have to put the effort and emphasis on your research to where it's probably most needed, which right now is myopia.
Yeah. So, Langis, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a real good conversation. I don't know if I come back, but
Well,
you might be the first if you do.
It's an invite only.
Yeah.
See.
Okay.
Just saying, we make the decisions.
I know that you're the boss.
Really, thank
you
so
guys.
much.
Thank you guys.
Really appreciate
Thank you
it.
guys.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you, guests, for watching another episode of May I Interrupt. This episode was fantastic with Dr. Langis Michaud, Jason Jedlicka. Great one today, buddy.
I didn't bring us down too far, did I?
No, you great. He was on your
Thank
game.
you.
I'll give you a solid 5 out of 10 today for your performance.
About as good as it gets.
You bet. Thank you, everybody. See you
Thank you.
soon. Bye.